This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hello, how are you?
And I'm Patrick.
Oh yeah. Should we start that one again? Do you want to go?
No, keep going.
Keep it in. See, I've been away so long. All I could think about was how everybody is.
Yeah. Happy New Year, Jeff.
Yes, Jeff. That's right. That's me. And Bella.
Hello.
I like the way you turn up now. It's bang on cue as to when we're starting the show.
She's well trained.
Yeah, she
needs the limelight.
Better trained than me. It was no appeal. But
true painting phase fashion. We come into
it's complete chaos as usual.
Yeah.
So you were away in Sri Lanka, had a nice time.
I had a lovely time.
So a nice alternative version of Christmas.
Yes, it was great. Yeah, we actually got there on Christmas Day.
I find the idea of travelling at Christmas just a little bit. I know it's weird because people travel up and down the motorway, and we do on Boxing Day. But travelling overseas and not being in a like my house or a relative's house. I know you were in a relative's house, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But it's all just a bit.
Yeah, it didn't feel like offensively Christmassy. You'd see Christmas trees inside, and then you'd walk out, and it was like 30 odd degrees.
Well, it's like when it's
very bizarre.
You see some of them Australian houses, and they have like snowmen outside, and everyone's in shorts and t-shirts. And you're like, this isn't quite working, is it?
I had I've got hilarious before and after pictures. It's like the last day is like me on a beach in my shorts, and then we got back and I had to clear loads of snow off my car. And it was like -6.
Yeah,
it was like
we've had
almost
a
40-degree difference in heat.
Yeah, well, it's been so cold recently that I've been having to close the vents in my car to stop it frosting on the inside. It's been
my God.
So I'm like making sure all the vents are closed every night before I get out of it.
That's mental.
Spraying WD-40 around the frame of my door so I can
so you can still open it. Oh my God.
It has been quite cold actually.
Yeah,
but a little bit better this week.
Yeah.
So no Ross.
No Ross
today. Sadly,
no Ross,
he's got poorly family members, so he's not with us. So we'll go straight into it. We have. Again, famously, now that we're almost becoming it, we've been organised and put a little list of things together, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, where would you like to start?
Well, I think housekeeping. Happy New Year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us again. It's very much appreciated. So we had some news about a guest, Tommy.
Yeah. So some of you will remember, and I'm going to do this cool thing and rely on you to sort out. Some of you will probably remember what is probably our best ever Instagram reel. Would it be a reel?
Yes, it would be.
And it's this one.
It's not a failed model, and you're not a shit painter. You've just got areas to develop.
There we go. I hope that worked out. Otherwise, people just watch us as I'm not zapping.
Yeah, I might just put it in again now.
Yeah, so Tommy Sewell, who is an absolutely lovely, lovely man, and came on the show a little while ago because he was asked to come in by a really nice chap called Dave Taylor, who produces a series of books called The Art Of, where he has lots of different well-known miniature artists from around the world create their own book talking about inspiration or ideas or the almost, in fact, in some of them, their world that they creative, how all their miniatures fit into that and all the rest of it. And Tommy, being Tommy, went completely the opposite way and went, I'm going to just do a book that teaches you how to paint because I spend my life teaching people how to paint.
Yeah.
And he came on and was just massively enlightening, wasn't he?
It was great.
He's a really, really nice guy. Well, Tommy has very kindly agreed to come back on the show, and this time we'll let him get the paintbrushes out.
Yeah.
And he's going to teach one of us, probably me, we'll see. I'm probably one that needs most help. He's going to teach us, he's going to do a little bit of teaching and showing us what he does, and which I'm really massively looking forward to, because hopefully probably by the spring I'm hopefully going to go and have some proper one-to-ones with Tommy as well, so this will be a nice little starter for that.
It will be.
See how it goes.
Very good. He's already changed how I paint just when we were chatting to him, and there was one little tip that he said, when you roll in your brush, be it on your palette, like if it's in your mouth or whatever, that you're never going to do it perfectly. You're never going to make that perfect sort of conical shape.
Yeah.
So rotate it see which way is the narrower way.
Yeah.
And that's your best way for doing your thin lines and edge highlights. It's completely changed how I
it's madness how it's madness how much he knows. You know, I've given my copy of Tommy's book to my little boy at the moment, who's now started on his
he
painting
got loads
journey.
of orcs for Christmas.
He did. He got the Combat Patrol box, and which I'll speak about in a bit. But he got the Combat Patrol box, and then when I put what I did was I bought him a toolkit, toolbox, and I filled everything with the toolbox and then wrapped the toolbox.
Oh, lovely!
So all the paints that he needed, because we watched a load of different. I went through and watched a load of different Beast Snagger videos.
Oh yeah,
and I thought, what one do I think is probably the one that's going to
approachable for him? Yeah.
So we watched Duncan Rhodes.
Oh yeah.
And we did that thing you do. You always fast forward to the end, see how well it turns out, and go, is that good? Yes, it is. I will watch how it was made.
Yeah.
And then we watched that, and I said, what do you think of that? And he went, yeah, that's great. And then I went into thank very nice of Duncan, put all his paints listed.
Yes.
And then I just went into Elements Games and bought all of them paints.
Yeah.
Just went, all of them.
Yeah.
And then a couple of that he hasn't mentioned. So yeah, he got them, and I bought for myself the Brutal and Cunning box.
Yeah.
And then in the bottom of the tool kit, I put all the Wrecker Crew orcs in there. So it's
brilliant.
It's something for him to look at working on. But
yeah,
he's on miniature 3 now, and you can already see its improvement
progress.
and change. And it's really nice
fantastic.
it's really nice to do. I've painted one. So the idea, well, I'm not quite finished it. I've been painting one. So the idea that he's got like a reference one to go back to if he needs to, a physical one there. But I don't think it'll be that. The way he's painted, I don't think it'll probably be that long before his is better than my reference one. So we'll see how it goes. But
it turns from reference to benchmark.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then,
so he's now got my copy of Tommy's book, and hopefully he'll start making some use of it. But I'm really excited about having Tommy back on the show, because he's just a genuinely really lovely human being, and his knowledge and how he approaches it and how he explains it is really quite a bit unique.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly interesting. Like he has his opinions that he's formed from teaching and painting over the years, and it's quite nice. I certainly like seeing different approaches and how people do stuff.
And hopefully Tommy's quite heavily involved in the painting competition that's held every year at Salute, and we may as well further down as we get closer to Salute, maybe get some of the judges on as guests as well.
And
I'll have a little bit of chat with them as well, see how they're looking forward to judging something that is weirdly, as much as everything that can be in Golden Demon can be in this, and there might even be some Golden Demon entries in it, but then also modern and historical miniatures, styles, and so many different things. So it's going to be quite interesting to see, especially if, like, if you've become a judge and you've grown up on Warhammer, how do you then judge a Second World War Sherman tank and things like that? It'd be quite interesting to see the difference of opinions on that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Tommy will be back on at some point in the near future. Can't wait.
Squarespace is awesome. If you're looking to build a website, it's the best place to go. I've got 2 of them. They're great. And they keep introducing new features which I'm going to show you to try and find the answers to the most important question in Warhammer at the moment. Introducing Design Intelligence from Squarespace. 2 decades of industry-leading design experience with cutting-edge AI technology to unlock your strongest creative potential. Design Intelligence empowers anyone to build a beautiful, more personalized website tailored to their unique needs, and craft a bespoke digital identity to use across one's entire online presence. Taking payments is getting easier. Squarespace Payments is the easiest way to manage your payments in one place with Squarespace. Onboarding is fast and simple. Get started in just a few clicks and start receiving payments right away. Plus, give your customers more ways to pay with popular payment methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, which is in the US, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay in the UK. And all of this is backed up by some really great flexible website templates. Get started with a professionally designed Squarespace website template with options for every use and category. Then customize your look, update content, and add features to fit your needs. Transform any template into your own and stand out online on every device. So if you are looking to build a website, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/thepaintingphase for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now I've got my website built, let's get back to the chat.
Right then.
Left then.
I'll go with the next one. I think it's time we sort of put ourselves out there a little bit, and for not just for each other, but also for the viewers, is I'm thinking about New Year's resolution.
Ooh.
Squad a month.
So this is your painting resolution for the year?
So a squad a month.
A squad. Okay.
And what I will promise to do is bring it in.
Oh, yeah.
And put it on the turntable, whether it's done or not.
Yeah.
So I can be berated by both you and Ross, and berated by the viewers for not pulling my finger out better.
Holding oneself accountable.
Yes. A squad a month, or a character a month.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. Because not everybody's got
Because a squad, crikey, what could a squad be? Up to 10 miniatures
could be
or
up to 10
something?
million, be up to 20 if you're playing orcs and things, couldn't it?
Oh, bloody hell, yeah.
Could be enormous. Yeah. I think if you were doing 20, I think maybe you could cheat a little bit and just bring 10 in.
Yes, absolutely. I think that would be fine. That would be difficult. Oh, okay. So what's first on the list? What's January, do you reckon?
For me, I think it's going to be a 5-man squad of Terminators.
Lovely.
That I've had hanging around for ages, because I had the original Leviathan Terminators.
Yes.
And then I bought the proper ones.
The box,
and I've put them all together, and I'm now just staring at them thinking I need to pull my finger out and get painting.
Yeah.
So
I still I just love the new Terminators.
They're great.
Every time I paint some and then go, I want to paint something else, I just want to paint Terminators again.
I think my only sad thing with Terminators is I look at them and go, they're lovely, and then I also think, look, imagine how lovely they'd be if they had power claws and swords and hammers and shields and things.
Yeah.
So, I've been whinging about the lack of assault Terminators for a long time, so I won't go into it too much, but I do keep looking at them going, where's the rest of them?
Yes. I saw the Mighty Brush. They do all the loads of cool transfers.
Luther.
On all that sort of stuff.
He's a very talented young man.
And he released, at the beginning of this year, a PDF for like a Raptor Terminator. And it's so good.
They're good, aren't they?
I bought it, £4.
Yeah.
Highly recommend if you want a cool Raptor thing. Look at it, buy it if you want to. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I bought the PDF and going through it and just like, it's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely, I think my Marines from the Kill Team starter set I'd quite like to paint as Raptors.
Oh, that's a good shout, actually. Yeah.
So I think that'd be quite cool. I need to familiarise myself with the because the ones he painted had like sort of like the white shoulder pads, and I'm completely unfamiliar with.
I assume
what those mean. And
I would say that possibly, because the problem being with Raptors, nice that they eventually ended up on the GW of the official GW, especially as a second found. And I know Black Templars have a second found, and then they've been involved in 40k for a very long time. But the fact that the Raptors got onto the sheet is really good. I would imagine, reading between the lines, I would say he's probably give them white shoulder pads to denote veteran.
Yeah,
maybe because they've got I think he did them with white helmets as well.
Yeah,
which is a veteran thing.
So the Terminator has a white helmet and it has white shoulder pads. Yeah. And there's another.
Has he been filing the Aquilas off?
No, that was still on.
Yeah, because I know that's becoming a bit more. I've done it with some previous 5 Terminators, but I notice it's becoming more of a thing with people doing Raptors. Is they get rid of the Aquillas and they put like a stripe with like a stenciled number on and stuff like that, leaning.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but we had a guy that we looked at many years ago, didn't we? Who was
a chap on Instagram who paints them all. Because he
does a lot like stripes, doesn't he, with a number in them?
I looked him up because I remember on this Raptor binge of looking at stuff, being like, oh my God, I want to do this. I was like, oh, can you paint because they're Terminators with the white shoulder pads, can you paint the Marines with white for Raptors? And I believe his Instagram handle is Golgoth or something along those lines. I'll stick it in the description and find out properly. But he paints all his with like a white cream
Yeah.
shoulder pad.
I think that might be a veteran thing. And then the other really cool thing with veterans, with with sergeants, is black helmets with a yellow stripe through it, which looks really good as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I really like the Raptors. And if I was starting my own Space Marine army, I would probably, I'd say I'd probably do Raptors, or I'd have to wait long enough to see what the, which we know is coming, is the rejig of the Space Wolves.
Yes.
Because I do really like Space Wolves as well.
Yeah.
And I have been down that road in the past when I was into the hobby first time. So, but I do really like the Raptors.
Yeah. So
they're very, very cool.
Terminators first. Are those going to be in like the colour of your son's?
Yeah, they'll be
army?
what we call Knights of the Forge. So there'll be five of them in metals with green shoulder pads and green helmets, and the green helmets will denote in my son's army veterans.
Yeah.
All shoulder pads are green anyway, but the green helmets are a veteran helmet. So yeah, something like that. We'll see how it goes.
Sensational. And then next month, you got to plan ahead.
I know. Next month we'll see. I've I don't know. I've maybe a 5-man scout squad. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
Or even, which I'll talk about in a bit. Or even because I've really fell in love with them. Rattlings team.
Oh, okay.
Don't take long to seeing as they're all about the size of a 5-pence piece.
Yeah, they're only little.
They are only little.
Yeah,
indeed. Yeah. So we'll see how we go.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense.
Because I've started buying kill team only squads now. I've bought a Cassican just for kill team.
Yeah.
And the Rattlins are both for the same thing, because I'm not having an Imperial Guard army.
You sounded. I'm not having an Imperial Guard. I'm not,
and it's really worrying because I bought Hive Storm.
Yeah.
So I ended up with that Imperial Guards, Tempestus Aquilons, are they called?
Oh, yeah.
Or Aquilons, whatever it's pronounced. I bought them, and then I bought Cassican.
Yeah.
And I mainly bought Cassican because I wanted to have a squad so I could justify using my couple-of-year-old now Warhammer Plus Cassican Sergeant miniature.
Yeah.
So I bought them, and I thought these are only just going to be a kill team. And then I bought Rattlins, and I thought I'm 3 squads deep into Imperial Guard. So one of my lovely customers, Liam, who's a big follower of the show, he was in having a haircut the other day, and he's an Imperial Guard player.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, do you fancy buying some Tempestus Aquilons to get them out of the shop before the next thing you know, I've got 8 Lehman Russ and 4 Chimeras. He was like, yeah, I'll have. I offered them at a really reasonable price. I thought, please take them.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
How did you end up with a 14,000?
Still not doing an Imperial Guard army. Yeah, it's not happening.
I go down slippery slopes. You know, I'm a big lad. I go down slippery slopes quickly.
Oh God.
Yep. So no, I thought I've got to break the back of this quickly as I can. So I thought, Cassican, yes, Rattlings, yes. And then obviously, it got worse because I've got Cassicans, Rattlings, Tempestus Aquilons, and to play Rattlings well, you can do an alternate version of them as a kill team squad. So I went out and bought 3 Ogren. See what I mean? It's getting dangerously. At the very least, it's getting dangerously close to 1,000-point army.
And Ross tried to argue that kill team wasn't the gateway drug.
It really is. It really is. It is. Yeah. And I also. Hang on. Yeah. And I've just remembered now as well. I bought the very first Kill Team box when Kill Team got its rejig.
Yes.
So I also own
the breaches.
No, not the breaches. I also own a 10-man squad of Deathcore Krieg as well.
Oh yes.
So I am literally banging on the door of having a small army. So no. So it's got to. I'm not having it. It's got to go.
Yeah.
So So
that's hilarious. Fair enough. Yeah. So if anybody wants to buy any cheap Imperial Guard army, drop Jeff a message.
It might be doable.
Yes. Excellent. So that's your squad or a character a month.
Yeah, a month. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's doable. I'm certainly not going to commit to that.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise you're going to leave me out there on me.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely. Yeah, I would like, because I think
you might have 1 or 2 orcs that could do with painting.
Oh bloody hell, yeah. I mean, I've got like a half painted Custodes army. I've got similar with a whole bunch of orcs.
Well, don't you own all the orcs?
No.
It must be running dangerously close.
Dangerously close, probably, yeah. So I'd love to get those armies finished. I need to knuckle down and get those done.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking about my New Year's resolutions a bit whilst I was away, and sort of thinking like, oh, like what could I do, and this, that, and the other. And I think like I guess maybe not necessarily to do with how many miniatures I'm painting, but I think like in the time that I have been painting, I really don't think I've progressed like very much.
Right. I think you have personally, but
I definitely will have, gotten better, or like, brush control's gotten better or whatever. But the practice that I've done hasn't necessarily been like really very focused. I've just been sort of like, oh, I'd like to paint this, dive in. Why does it look bad? Oh, right, yeah. And I guess, making those mistakes and all that sort of thing. So I definitely like to do like more focused sort of practice in my painting. Like I'd really quite like to give glazing a good stab.
Yeah.
Try some non-metallic metals and that kind of thing. So sort of try and broaden my repertoire of skills and just become a bit more of a competent painter. Cool. I think I definitely want to paint more.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy it. And I think like towards the end of last year, I could probably count on one hand the times that I picked up a paintbrush or something like that. But then when I forced myself to do it, I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I think I want to do more painting videos. I'd quite like to, like, I don't know, as I like get in towards the summer, I'm not sure how realistic it'll be, but I'd really like to try and do like 2 painting videos a month.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And I think that would be really fun. Get those armies finished. I want to paint my raptors and just like...
Well, the thing that I've had, the big leap for me in the last few months is that I now have, in the back of my barber shop, I have a proper dedicated painting space.
Yeah.
Still nowhere near as good as the one that my 11-year-old son has now got, with his height-adjustable table and gaming chair, and a big telly on there as well, so he can put YouTube videos on it and all the rest of it. So he's much better kitted out for it than I am. But going into this leads into something I was talking about previously. I really had airbrush struggles.
Yes.
Really wasn't doing very well with it. And you know that thing when you're a bit of a moron, and I'm very much so about myself, as you go, it's not me, I need better kit. And you go, no, it's you. You know what I mean? But you just can't figure out it's you.
Yeah.
But I actually did the thing of going, I need better kit, and my Christmas present to myself, because I always treat myself, is I went and bought the Harder and Steenbeck conversion kit for my Ultra, take it to the Evolution.
Really? Oh,
so
wow.
I went down to a 0.2 needle and a different nozzle.
Yeah.
Massively better for my abilities.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I found that with the 0.4, which is still a great setup, I was struggling to figure out where I was to be. Yeah. And then when I went down to the 0.2 and it's so much finer, I realise now that I can be right on top of the miniature with it. I can be right close to it. And it's really, really made all the difference for me.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Because, you really, the sensible airbrushes out there, of which, I don't class myself as one of them, are probably... go, no, 0.4 is good enough, it will get you there. It will be, but I just couldn't find my zone with it.
Oh, right. Okay,
and then I went and spent the money and dragged myself down to a 0.2. Yeah. Massive improvement.
Yeah, because the Evolution, I think, it comes with the 0.2 needle
as standard.
But it comes with the 4 as well.
Yeah.
So I think I can't remember what I've got in here. I think I might have put the 0.4 in. I'm moving this back and the needle's not moving. I haven't used it. I haven't used it in a while. That's really, really interesting. Because how are you finding it? Do you thin your paints a bit more?
Yeah, thin my paints a bit more. To get it through. Yeah, and I thin my paints a bit more. I find that I judge the PSI a bit easier.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can be right on top of the miniature.
Yes. Super helpful.
Yeah, and it's really, really helped because
awesome.
The thing one of them, there's 2 things I bought it for. One of them was really to be able to do nice blended Space Marine shoulder pads.
Yeah.
With a very basic level of OSL on the top of the on the top of the shoulders. And also I bought it which I haven't done with it yet, but I have a lot of Crute to paint.
Yeah.
And painting god that is Henry from Cult of Paint a while ago did Crute with an airbrush.
Yeah.
And what he very interestingly did, which is a paint I have now since bought, is he started on all of them with either the Vallejo version or the AK version, but he started them all with like a hull red.
Yeah.
And then chose different colours over the top of the hull red, but he started all of them with hull red, and some of them he went like a tan, some he went to green, some he went more like a grey.
Perfect, yeah.
But he started that way,
Yeah.
and I thought, when I pull my finger out and start working on these, I don't really want to be doing it by hand. I've done a few by hand already, and they look all right, but I'm like, if I could be getting the main bodies of these down, I can get them all hull red, and then I can start changing about with different colour tones.
Yeah.
So which is, I didn't think the answer would be, for me with airbrushing, would be that I found that I was actually more delicate.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing that you've got something that works for you.
Yeah, and it's nice now. And don't get me wrong, I know I put my 0.4 in if I'm just priming everything, and then trap back to the 2, and so. And don't get me wrong, I think opening and cleaning and dealing with your airbrush is almost as much of a hobby as actually the thing that you're using the airbrush for. It's up there with like 3D printing. It's a hobby embedded inside another hobby, isn't it? But it's being close and a bit more delicate, I found is much more the way that suits me. And apparently I seen in our YouTube comments, Ross was saying that Harder and Steenbeck are also planning on releasing the Evolutions trigger for the Ultra. They're going to do a conversion one for the Ultra as well, so that might be something I'll look at further down the line. So painting's got better.
Brilliant, good. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. It's really helped.
I think one thing I want to paint my first like Primarch this year.
Oh right.
Have a stab at like either Angron or Mortarion, I think.
Well, you've got Mortarion, haven't you? Already?
Yeah, I've got.
And you've got Angron as well.
Yeah,
they're
so
both really nice miniatures.
Yes, definitely. And like as
Mortarion
much as,
terrifies me.
Yeah,
and you tell you it terrifies me because I'm a Death Guard player and I've never bought him for that very reason. I look at him and go, no, there's too much going on.
There's so much going on.
But now I've got a 0.2 needle in me airbrush. You never know.
That's it. Yeah, you'd be like, I'd be prime him in no time. Yes. So I'd like to do that. I think I want to paint more. I want to get better. I just want to have fun and enjoy it.
Well, that's it. I said to my youngest boy the other day, I said, have you done any painting the last couple of days? And he went, no. And he went, oh, shall I go? And I went, no. I said, you should go and paint when you want to. I said, because if you go and force yourself to paint when you don't want to, it's a job.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
And it's not meant to be, unless you're a commission painter, it's not meant to be a job.
Yes.
You're meant to do it. I said, but don't let it slide that you don't go up there, at least like once a week or twice a week. I said, but don't feel like if I ask you, you have to run up the stairs and start, because I said, you'll feel like you're doing it against your will, and then you won't have the joy for it.
Yeah. But having some time off, has been great. I think I've come back feeling refreshed and
ready for it,
and motivated.
Right then, should we have a look at what else is on the list?
Absolutely.
Okay. This one I'll talk about, and it's mainly uniquely to me, but mentioned it already. Managed to get my hands on the Brutal and Cunning Kill Team box.
Yes.
That was my other Christmas present to myself. I was very generous with myself this Christmas.
Good, you deserve it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I like to think so. What a great little set that is. I immediately dispatched and didn't spend too much time looking at them. The orcs went into my son's toolbox Christmas present with all of his other things in there. I stuck them in there, so he's got them for further down the line. But the rattlings, do you know what? For tiny little miniatures, really, really, really nice. And the team that's put them together, because it's always a team.
It always is a team. Yeah.
Either really are fans of modern infantry soldiers, or I've done a load of research, loads of little things in it that you just, stuff that's just like woolly hats. Every single miniature in there can make at least 2 versions, every one of them.
Right. Yeah.
And then he did things like, you can build the body of this character who's done as a sniper, or you can do him as the sniper with the tank stopper weapon.
Yeah.
When you do him as that one, you put a different back section on him, and then he then has a big hood, so he looks like he's wearing like a British Army windproof smock that used to be like an SAS Royal Marines thing they got issued them.
Yeah.
And then he's got like a chest rig with pouches.
Yeah.
And the whole design setup of them, there was just loads of bits that I looked at that read to me straight away that I knew what they were or knew what they were trying to represent. Really, really good level of detail gone into them. And like I say, and then the fact that there's still that little constant comedy nod to the fact that they're always eating.
Yeah.
The fact that the big shot, who's the one with the tank stopper sniper rifle, has got the generator with a big cable going into the sniper rifle, and then on top of the generator he's got a cup of tea and a sandwich.
Yeah,
which I just love.
Yeah.
Keep him warm, which I think is great. But you know, I also made me laugh about that was the fact, which I thought was a really good indication of understanding scale in 40k, is that he's got this big generator box sat next to him. Whereas if you make the Las Carbine version of Eliminators, that big generator box is just in a pouch on the Marine's thigh. So I thought was just a great understanding of, you know, of scale for whoever's dealing with a particular thing. So it was really good.
Yeah.
Gotta love the fact that there's a dog in there. Any kill team squad that comes with a dog is always a good one. But really, really nice miniatures. Nice little nod. Nice little nod in there, I think, as well to stealthy characters from video gaming, is the fact that the leader of the Rattlings has got a beard, an eye patch, and a beret, which makes him look a lot like Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, fantastic!
And then they've another one who's wearing a night vision goggles with a load of lenses on it.
Oh yeah,
and he looks a lot like Sam Fisher from
Splinter
Cell, which I thought he's called a Sneak, and I thought was a really, really clever little.
Yeah.
And again, a detail that like not a lot of people would have, if you weren't ex-military, maybe not have spotted, as the Sneak is wearing like a camouflage poncho.
Yeah.
But they don't do it so much now. But it used to be that your poncho in the military that you could wear, because it had a hood in it, which was just like a long piece of, you know, waterproof garment that you could get over all your kit.
Yeah.
You also that was your tent.
Really?
So you use, you know, bungee cords.
Yeah.
You hook them round trees, and then the poncho all around its edges would have holes in it.
Yeah.
So that it'd have metal surrounded holes around the edges.
Yeah.
So that you could turn it into a tree.
Yeah.
Well, you could strap it to a tree.
Turn it into a tree.
Turn it into a tree. Yeah. Turn yourself into a tree, but not.
Yeah.
But so you could have that, and considering it's the tiniest of miniatures, the Rattling Sneak is wearing a camouflage poncho, and there is all the little holes.
And it's got all the holes in. Oh, wow.
Someone that is really, like I say, really knows their military stuff on the team, or they've on the sculpting team for the Rattlings, or they've put a lot of research in.
Yes.
Just loads of things where I just found me and Bestie Tim, because Tim is an ex-reservist. So me and Tim were putting them together. I was putting them together with Tim, and I was going, look at that. And he's going, oh, holes in a poncho. And he was, oh, look at that. Oh, they look like the pouches off of such and such. It was really, so that was really cool. The Orcs, for us, seen them look quite nice. And this whole thing now, have they released bunkers for it?
Oh,
that
okay,
fit onto the side.
That.
They've released bunkers that fit onto the side of pre-existing scenery.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a cool little idea as well.
Yeah.
So I thought, and I feel like I'm being awful, because I know it's now not the easiest of things to find. But
is it sold out?
Yeah, I think so.
Of course.
But at the same point in time, fair dues to Games Workshop. They've started getting the new kill teams out faster in their individual boxes.
Yes.
So if we treat them review them as individual teams, they're both worth a buy, and the scenery's quite nice as well. So really impressed with Brutal Cunning. But the problem being is when you start getting into kill team, you always want to know what's in the next one, don't you?
Yeah.
And then it's weirdly now, unlike this one, I have no idea. And they've said that they won't be mentioning kill team at Vegas previews.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
because it has been pretty rapid in it
Well,
coming
it felt
out,
like
wasn't
that.
it?
It felt like the Rattling one turned up no time after Hivestorm. Hivestorm was like beginning of October or something like that, wasn't it? And then
I saw Night Lords won 40k miniature of the year.
Yeah, which caused some sort of. Well, I was.
Of course, it caused controversy.
Of course, it did. We'd be annoyed if it didn't. Well, that was quite interesting to see that second was the Rattling's diorama.
Yes, yeah.
Came second,
And
provisionally prepared, is that called?
Yeah. Because can you get that yet?
Yeah, it's been but you can buy that in the box. Yeah. Yes, there was. I won't name the YouTube channel because I'll sound like I'm moaning about them. I'm not moaning about them, but there's a YouTube channel out there where the person who has it likes to have a real old moan at Games Workshop and have a complaint about things. And I sort of get their point where they were saying, is this showing that the 40k is in a very dull place if an upgrade sprue is basically what's what?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I do see that.
Yeah.
But I also, when we first seen the Night Lords a while back, me and you and Ross were all of the opinion that it was phenomenally well designed kit.
Yes.
Because we said, one of us said, I can't remember which it was, when you design an upgrade sprue that you add it to a pre-existing kit to the point that it makes it look like a new unit, then you've done your upgrade sprue really well.
It was a hell of an upgrade sprue,
Yeah, and I think it's really impressive that what they did with that. So I've not really got much in the way of complaints about it being fair.
It shows the love that there is for the Night Lords as well.
Yeah.
I think so. First and foremost, I think that's probably what it is.
I think that does have a bearing on it. Yeah, I didn't see Provisionally Prepared going second.
No, I didn't.
I thought it was quite. I like the fact that people then obviously leaned into the quirkiness of it. But at the same point in time, if it do have a moan, you go, really speaking, surely as they are such a big benchmark set, surely number one or number two should have been something like Sanguinary Guard, shouldn't it? They should have been there in their whole glory of them being absolutely over the top and really amazing. And no one was interested.
We've talked Blood Angel Nipples to death, haven't we? So I can't even be bothered.
No.
To even
but
talk
there was
about
what I was saying is there was miniatures released last year.
Yeah.
That should have been an absolute shoe-in for being in the top 3.
Absolutely.
And were just ignored.
Yes.
And I think that's a bit of a sad indictment.
My boy won the AOS miniature of the year.
Didn't he?
Yeah. I think first, second, and third was the Flesh Eater Court dude.
Yeah.
Massive big rat boy.
Yeah.
And then miniature, I can't remember the name of it already. Yeah, dinosaur on a cathedral.
Yeah, dinosaur
chaos dude.
Yeah, which was I was really pleased to see that it got in the top 3, which was really nice.
So, and again, like those AOS miniatures are sensational. So,
knocking it out the park as usual. Hopefully things will be a little bit more interesting for 40k this year. Well, in fact, we'll be on the brink of finding out, because another thing that we've got as a subject is Las Vegas previews.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. I have, having taken some time out, I really didn't go on the internet very often because where I was in a rainforest, occasionally it was crap.
Yeah.
And actively sort of decided to sort of take a break. So I do not have a clue.
Well, I get the impression that I think people like Chapter Master Valrak and amongst others but they were under the opinion, and I was carried along with that same opinion, was that we'll get a preview Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Games Workshop have a habit of going, there's all the previews, and then they bang another one out Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And we're all ready for Slanesh.
Just moving your camera ever so slightly.
Okay, no worries.
Keep going.
Yeah, so we were all very much thinking it was going to be Slanesh was going to be the big thing. They were going to show the Slanesh box set, and they didn't. They just showed Fulgrim on his own.
Oh yes, of course. That was that was like the Christmas sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, they showed Fulgrim, and then that sort of really
along with some renders of shoulder pads and silhouettes.
Yeah, which we've been having in the every Wednesday leading up into that. So very much by the looks of it, I think we're going to get to see the rest of Slanesh. I think will be shown at Vegas. I think, which is probably will be shown. I think it's something like Thursday. Early hours Thursday for us here.
By the time this comes out on YouTube,
It'll have
next
happened.
week. It will have
It'll
happened.
yeah. So it looks like we're probably going to see Lucius the Eternal.
Yeah.
Because they've done one of them silhouette reveals, and it literally couldn't be anything else.
Yeah.
When you look at it, if it isn't him, I'll be absolutely stunned because it blatantly looks like it is. It's nice that he's getting a new model, and because it wasn't that long ago we had Hammer and Bolter.
Yep.
And he got his own little cartoon, which was pretty decent.
Because I remember when that came out, I messaged you because I'm not super familiar with Emperor's Children, and I was like, "Has this guy got a miniature?" And you were like, "Yeah, but it's really old."
Yeah.
And so it will be cool seeing
It'd
the
be
new
nice
version of that.
if it feels a lot like if it feels like it's the one from the cartoon as well. And then don't get me wrong, he's got a lot of benchmark things on that are blatantly going to be on the miniature, and they were in the cartoon, so they will marry up to some degree.
Yeah.
But if they can get him looking a lot like that, I'd be really impressed. So, so there'll probably be him.
I'm intrigued to see what the what will be in the starter set, like what the troop choices will be.
Yeah,
So
I think they've been showing us already bits and bobs of Noise Marines.
Yeah,
which I really liked. One of the things I spotted, and I'm sure plenty of people spotted, it's not like only I spotted it, but I liked on the Noise Marine weapons is that they've got the little stoppers that are like off a big church organ. Those on the around the weapon. I thought was really cool. Like that, new helmets with all with speaker faces and things like that, and the really nice wings that they have on their armor.
There's been lots of shoulder pad like renders, hasn't there? Which is quite interesting seeing the like Games Workshop renders, because usually when you look at a render, it's like a 3D print or something like that. I found it quite bizarre looking at like a grey render and being like, oh, that's not very detailed, but then it's like, no, it'll look great, it'll be fine. Lots of these 3D prints are like over designed and too much detail.
So I think what will happen is I think they will probably show off a starter box. Which because that's what they did last year when we were both at Vegas. We seen the Crute starter box.
Yes, we did,
And so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we're going to see.
And like with the Deathcore Krieg, they announced the units. They always show like one more unit than will be in the starter box, won't they? So if we're looking at like World Eaters, they had the Primarch. You've got your sort of generic troop choice. There was the
eightfold,
like the three like demony sort of dudes. You had the Robo Pig, and then was there another troop choice? I'm not 100% sure.
I think they might have been,
but I can't imagine they'll put Fulgrim in the starter set. He'll be his own thing
because they didn't put Angron in with the World Eaters ones. So there's hopefully, I would say, the very least, I think we're going to see Noise Marines, and and they might be, like I say, there might be a couple of other new units in there that they haven't really showed much of yet. I'd like to think as well, maybe we might see the beginnings of something new for the Space Marines, because I know it sounds daft, but realistically, the Marines actually haven't really been touched for a while.
No.
It seems like they have, because I always think that there's always Space Marines, and the reason I think there's always Space Marines is because nearly every month they're being bombarded by something beautiful for 30k.
Yeah.
And to me, Space Marines seem to be like a constant, but actually 40k Space Marines since Blood Angels, and that was like September.
When they were announced.
when they came out, and then but that was like it's chapter specific, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think we know there's a couple of more general things we could do, like saying Assault Terminators would be nice.
Yeah.
There was a preview later half of last year where they showed an engine that's the sort of engine systems for things that Primaris use.
Yeah.
So, but it looked like almost like one on its own. So there's obviously some sort of new Space Marine vehicle coming along. That might be chapter specific. You never know. That might be something that flies. It might be for Raven Wing or whatever. But I think it feels like there's a couple of units that standard Space Marines could do with. So you never know. But I think it's probably going to be Slanesh. I think it's probably going to be Emperor's Children as what?
Yes, the big 40k thing. Yeah.
So talking of that, what did you think of the new Fulgrim model?
I have opinions. I think it's really great.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's impossible not to compare it to Fulgrim Transfigured from Forgeworld,
which is a beautiful model,
which is exceptional. I think, admittedly, the Forgeworld Primarchs, the sort of original ones, I know they're held in a really high esteem.
Yeah.
I remember when like Pete the Wargamer was on the chat show ages ago, and a question from a patron was like, is there anything that you wouldn't kit bash? And he was like, oh, the Forgeworld Primarchs, I think they're really great. So Pete knows his stuff, and they're really, really high. I've never tried to paint one. So
No.
I've never.
I think it'd be a long time before I thought I was good enough to go near any
yes,
one of them.
Absolutely, yeah. And seeing Neil's like Horus Ascended, and you just
You wouldn't think. I'm not going to buy that and just sort of slap some paint on it.
Yeah. So the originals, I never really sort of connected with. They're not my favourite models. I'm not 100% sure if I could put my finger on why. I think maybe like the scale and the proportions and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is just like they're a different sort of style.
Yeah.
The newer ones that have come out, Horus Ascended, I think is exceptional.
It's a phenomenal model.
Yeah.
Like I say, I was so pleased to see it pick up.
Yes.
I
I think that's utterly incredible, and I think Fulgrim Transfigured is amazing.
It's amazing, but I have caveats with its amazingness.
Yes. So, what are they?
Well, my first caveat is £182.
Yes, that's quite a strong one to lead with.
You know what I mean? And like I said to you off camera today, I said, you could turn up at a tournament and say, you just have to give me a minute. I'm just waiting for DHL to bring him in an enormous box on a forklift, because how would you transport that blooming thing with wings that big?
Yeah. Like it's super interesting. Like seeing the pictures side by side, and I'll put them on screen. It's interesting, like how similar they are, but then the different directions that they've sort of gone in. So the Forgeworld one is sort of like more armored and scaled, whereas plastic is generally a bit more natural, and you can see the scales and everything, and so on and so forth.
I think when you're paying £182, the level of detail that can go into it, and the level of detail that you would expect.
That's a fair point, actually.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think if there'd never been... What's Bella found?
I don't know. Just standing on loud things.
Cool. Okay, you're done now. If they'd never been an Ascended already, everyone would have probably quite liked this miniature.
Yes.
But because there's been a really, really nice one.
Yes. So it's an interesting one. So I heard in my very limited time at GW that one of the rumours at the time, or was that the plastic kits, people generally know they can take 1.5 to 2 years to come out. The development time is really, really long, whereas for resin it's not as long.
No.
And allegedly, the rumour that I've heard is GW is quite tribal. On the face of it, they're the same company, but Forgeworld, Citadel Miniatures, very different.
Yeah.
Run by different people, different departments, different buildings, different painters, all that sort of stuff. Is that when the Tau, I think it was what, the big Tau suit, is it the Riptide?
It might be. That might be the biggest one.
Potentially, something like that. Anyone can tell me in the comments. Is that people are like, hey, this is going to be coming out at some stage. Forgeworld saw it and went, we're going to make a bigger one, and it's going to come out sooner.
It's funny that no one says, no, you're not. Just can't stop them.
So that is apparently a thing that happened, which, I'm inclined to believe. And I wonder if it's happened here as well.
Possibly.
Because out of all the Primarchs...
So you're saying that you think the plastic Fulgrim was probably already on track, and then they released the Forgeworld one?
Yeah.
Possibly.
That could be a thing that potentially happened. I'm not going to, bet my house on it or anything like that. But I wonder if, I don't know, maybe they were like, hey, we're going to be releasing Emperor's Children. Let's as a company, let's push stuff out together. It is a bit weird to get two Primarchs released.
Yeah, that are and that are very similar.
And they're very similar, aren't they? So they must have had, somewhere there'll be a document in Games Workshop that says, right, Fulgrim, Snaky Boy, he's got wings, he's got 4 arms, and that sort of stuff. Like, there's differences, but you look at them and go, yeah, they're both Fulgrim. So
it is weird to have 2 models floating around that are so similar. But the other thing as well is that, if we're being honest, unless you play with some really, really uptight people, if you play with somebody that can put coal up their arsehole and it comes back out as a diamond, generally avoid them people for gaming. You know what I mean?
fair.
What I'm getting at is if you really, really want the big one, just play it.
Yeah.
Play it. No, do you know if someone went, I'm sorry, but I don't like the new one, I'm going to play this one, my main thing would be, can I have a look at that? Wow, I'm amazed.
Yeah.
Not like, the base size. You know what I mean?
Right, okay. Yeah.
And and even if you really are somebody that's like very much into playing 40k exactly as it should be played, and hats off to you if you do. There's a lot of people who play 40k on a much smarter level than I am. You probably could buy the Ascended Forgeworld and hack the base down to make it the right size to do the other one.
Are they different bases?
I think they're different base sizes, but it's not hugely different. And like I say, if you're playing with somebody that wants to whinge about that, then just give that person a wide berth, I think, personally. I know it's not that easy to control who you play against a tournament.
No.
But, and don't get me wrong, I do think the new one, with regards to scales and design and all the rest of it, is a lesser miniature than the Forgeworld one.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be roundly £80 lesser and more convenient to take from A to B.
Yes.
And
easier to build.
Easier to build.
Yeah.
4 different heads.
Yeah.
Are any of them heads as good as the Forgeworld ones? No. But, it's more, you can make it your own a little bit more. The wings are smaller, so you can, like I say, it makes it easy to take from A to B. I just think you've got the perfect opportunity to take the one that your hobby level and your bank account can cope with.
Yes. Yeah.
You've got options.
Fair. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And that's it.
And like I'm I do prefer the Forgeworld one. I only think the wings on the 40k one look small because the ones on the Forgeworld one are
just
so
enormous.
big.
Yeah.
Am I going to own these miniatures? Probably not.
No.
Am I going to paint them? No. So
and this is obviously important to some people, especially for the fact that the Emperor's Children haven't had any love for a while.
Yes.
The fact that they're getting
not
and I think they're doing basically what they did with Death Guards is when Death Guard came back, and they did probably what is a much bigger range than what Emperor's Children got, and then they got their Primarch as well, and I get that they're doing all of that, but I just think it's possibly nice to have choices.
Absolutely, and I know I'd prefer building the plastic one.
Good God, yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of building resin.
I try to avoid resin wherever possible. So, so I think when they show the Vegas reveals, they've already done Fulgrim.
Yeah,
they might have him in some group shots, but I think realistically, it's probably going to be a box with
all the troops and everything.
And the codex in it or something.
Speaking of Death Guard, I saw on your Instagram you were posting some.
We almost forgot about that. Didn't we? Which was the.
So I'm assuming that will get an announcement at LVO.
Well, it's gonna. Well, I don't know what's going to happen there, because I think, for those that don't know, which I'm sure most of you do, Games Workshop managed to do, which they did with Dante, is somebody asked for an AOS sorcerer and ended up with a Death Guard, what looks like a Death Guard champion miniature that I would say probably is at least 4 months away from being released, maybe more. Because I think unless they are planning on going on like a Chaos Army rush and gone Emperor's Children Death Guard and pushing Chaos out quite quickly one after another.
Yeah.
I don't think Death Guard is probably near for release.
So will this be like Death Guard Codex is coming out, here's your token, one new miniature?
I think, I can't see Death Guard getting anything else new. There's things I think they could do with, some Chaos Spawn and things like that are a bit more nergly based. But realistically, and I say this as someone who collects Death Guard, I think what they've got enough to get by on. Would I like to see them have motorbikes and a heavy weapon unit? Yes. But I think they can get by on what they've got.
Yeah.
So I think this, like last time where they got whatever he was called, they got a single miniature again last Codex.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do that to them again this mo and go, here's your Death Guard your Death Guard Lord, which because they haven't got a dedicated miniature for that. I think it's going to be this. I think the new miniature is really, really nice.
Yeah.
As soon as I seen it, I seen it turn up on a Facebook group quite early on, and I grabbed it there and then, and I put a photograph out of the sprue, and then that person kindly built it and posted it back out again, and then for the sake of being a completist, I put that up as well. Really, really nice. I thought it was a really, really nice miniature. Unusual to have. The pose was quite unusual to have that enormous sword, but resting over his back, and just one hand holding it in place as he walked. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, so really, really nice. I thought that was really, really nice. Normally, though, you're right. Well, Games Workshop panic, don't they, when there's been a leak
and push out a video,
and then they do something about it. But I wonder if we've got Emperor's Children still yet to come out on a codex.
Yeah.
Whether they might not be ready yet to say it, because bear in mind you've still got Krieg, Imperial Guards have got to come out in the codex proper. Then Emperor's Children are going to come out in the codex proper. I don't know whether Death Guard were as high up on that list. Bear in mind, still haven't had an Eldar codex.
Have we not? Oh wow!
No, I don't think so. Still, I think the codex is coming out with the next run of Eldar miniatures that we've got, which is the likes of the Fire Warriors and the Warp Spiders and things like that. Yeah,
they're all announced.
So I thought, to me, Death Guard strikes me as more at the earliest in the summer.
Yeah.
So this could be a very, very early leak, and I think they may well paint one up and put out and went, this will be coming in the future, but I think it could be so far away they might just keep their mouth shut and just leave it to just be out there and not say anything else about it for a while.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I think there's a number of codexes before we get to, sadly, for me as a Death Guard player, before you get there. So it'd be interesting to see. I do love it when Games Workshop do it, though. It does make me laugh.
Yes.
But it makes me laugh that people then go, they do this on purpose. I go, I don't think you're doing that on purpose.
No, like the impression I got when I was there was like leaks annoy everyone because everybody has to work really hard to push something out like straight away.
And especially as well as you go, they did this on purpose, and you go, you say that, but that person still didn't actually get there. It didn't at that point get there at what they bought. They ended up with something else, which is great. But actually, then imagine phoning up and then going, "Hi, you sent me this thing out that's months and months away from release, but I didn't actually get me AOS Chaos Sorcerer. Can you send it?"
Do you think that?
Do they then go, "Yeah, but can we have the other thing back?" And they go,
"No."
Well, you go, "No, I'll hold it to ransom. No, you're all right."
I was going to say, do you think that, you know, now two people in the world have been in that position, the Dante person and then this chap. I wonder if they would call and say, "Hey, you sent me an unreleased miniature.
Yeah.
How many miniatures will you send me to not put pictures of this online?" But Games Workshop, they won't do that because they don't. They send loads of stuff, and then that person will be like, "Lol, upload." So that would be a very slippy road to go down. And then I guess you'd be potentially opening yourself up to.
I know. I think Games Workshop will either with this one, they will either push through very quickly. Going, here's an early example of what's going to be in the Death Guard Codex, and they'll do like a really early preview. And it'll still come out when it was meant to. I don't think they'll move the schedule or anything around. Or this one, to me, like I say, only to me, seems that early that I think they might just ignore it.
Yes. I was going to say, like when they announce it, I want to place a bet that if they do acknowledge it, they'll use some in-world like, the servitors got a bit confused.
Oh yeah, my favourite.
And then be like, So I don't know.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think they are previewing things early like that when they did the picture before Christmas, didn't of Bjorn the Fell-Handed Dreadnought.
Oh yes, like peeking through the door.
It's meant to be like the equivalent to Santa, and and there's been nothing else mentioned about the Space Wolves of anything. Well, nothing new, of new miniature wise or anything. So that might be how we might get something Space Wolf related at Vegas, maybe. And if you do, maybe that's how we will end up with our Assault Terminators. They'll come out in the Space Wolf release.
Yeah.
But last thing then, because this is something you went on a little bit of a chase on, and I've been drooling over but trying to avoid.
Oh yes,
Trench Crusade.
Yeah, I think one thing that I was going to say but completely forgot
go
in my New Year's resolutions was I quite like to paint less, not less, but I was going to say less GW stuff, more other stuff.
Yeah.
And broaden my horizons a little bit.
Well, I think looking at some of the miniatures for Trench Crusade, your horizons will definitely be broadened.
Yeah, and like there's a buzz about it. We've talked about it a bit, and
the buzz won't end. It seems to just be on a roller
it
coaster
does really
at the
well,
moment, doesn't it?
And like Pat Price, who I used to work with at Workshop, like we hadn't spoken in a little while, and he messaged me and was like, "Have you seen Trench Crusade?" I was like, "Oh my god!" And we were chatting about that for a little bit. So yeah, I like the miniatures and the setting is quite exciting. So yeah, I did one of the late backers. I think / hope.
Yeah.
That when I was away, I got an email. I think they were saying like, yeah, you can get your STLs now.
Yeah.
There was one that had my mini factory in it, so I was like, oh, I really hope that's the STLs. But I think they're doing they're fulfilling the physical prints if people have bought them as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bought the STLs for kind of like I went a bit overboard and I was like, hey, we might play it on the channel.
Was you drinking while you were talking to Pat Price?
No.
I thought your wave of enthusiasm might have been mildly alcohol based.
Yeah, potentially. I said, somebody made it. It was my partner Karis. She made a brilliant joke. She was like, "I'm doing dry January, only dry white wine."
Excellent, love it.
So exclusively Sauvignon Blanc for me this month. No, it's too cold for white wine. Anyway, yes. So I've backed it to get like all of the teams thinking, hey, I'll be like I have a 3D printer. We have a 3D printer. Let's like print them off and paint some and play some games. So yeah, super looking forward to Trench Crusade.
I am as well. It's that thing of like I say, I'm really glad you're getting involved because I am A, financially avoiding it and B, mentally avoiding it because I can't hold more rules in my brain.
Yes.
But I'm very, very happy to dabble in it once it arrives.
That's it.
Yeah. If you want me to paint anything, I'll quite happily take it away, paint something, bring it back.
Was there a team that tickled your fancy?
I don't know. I'll have to have a look. I sort of quite like the bad guys that look a bit like sort of regular sort of 40k sort of like guardsmen. They've got ones that are like sort of gas masked and things like that. They look quite cool. Must be honest, I don't remember the names.
No, why I've got my phone out. Yeah. So like Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, I am a big fan of. So the new Antioch, I think they look fine. Yeah,
they do look really cool.
I really like the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. Yeah, the Iron, what was that? The Sultanate of the Iron Wall.
Oh yeah, they're the good guys, aren't they?
They sound pretty awesome. Trench Pilgrims really do it for me. That guy that looks like a walking church.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And so I think they've done a really, really great job of capturing the grimdark aesthetic, but being so different to Warhammer.
Talking of grimdark, I think
it's a really, really good job.
I think talking of grimdark as well as there'll be people buying them new John Blanche sets that have come out, haven't they? Army Painter have been releasing John Blanche.
Oh, I saw the. I think I saw it on Instagram or something. Ninjon had painted one of the Deathcore Krieg
using them,
horses, using them and saying, "Hey, it's a Blanchitsu set."
Yeah,
I was like, "Holy crap! Didn't know that was a thing."
I think there'll be plenty of people cracking them out for Trench Crusade.
That's a good shout. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I didn't even know those sets were coming out.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't know they were coming out until I seen somebody already reviewing them.
Yeah. And then Deathcore Krieg, being pre-ordered. I think I've seen some of the sort of like Lloyd painting coach has put his
Yeah, a lot of the
stuff.
influencers and YouTube guys have got hold of them already. It'd be interesting to see what they produce with that.
Yeah, he sent me a picture of the finished thing on WhatsApp, and I was just like, "That looks gross." Well done.
Yeah, brilliant.
It really got that sort of pallid, because a
lot of them are doing the claw. Their claws are done like stained as a different skin tone.
And like the flesh, he's put like a pink wash on it, so the flesh around the clawy hoovy bits looks like really raw, and it just it creeps me out.
I think it's brilliant to kept them style of horses from Forgeworld and bring them back again.
Yeah. Are you right, sir?
Oh, hello, Ross.
I want to come in and talk about Trench Crusade.
Do you want to come in and talk about Trench Crusade?
I'll
Ross turned up partway through. Yeah. There we go.
Hey man, he just missed us so much. Are you all right, Al?
Yeah, not too bad. Hi everyone.
Cool.
Thank you you've said you made my apologies. So for anyone who's surprised, I haven't been here the whole time watching. I came halfway through.
In the corner, just breathing heavily.
Little bit. Well, that was Bella mostly who I was stroking. But no, glad to be back. But obviously some stuff going off at the moment, which... I've been less than enthused about anything outside my own personal life and goings off. But thank you. It happens. But we've all been there at the end of the day. We've all experienced this, and I just didn't want to bring that energy to the show. But you started talking about Trench Crusade, and I was like, I want to talk about Trench Crusade because I am so excited by Trench Crusade.
Well, some knobhead, but all the STLs.
The whole thing. Yeah. So I know someone with a 3D printer, or a few.
Yeah.
So if you want to get some stuff printed off, then we can have a look at that. But the bit I wanted to talk about was, I think what I like about these models that I'm yet to see everyone else doing is, since we've gone into this 3D printing thing, everyone's done so much. And it's like 3D printers started being like, one day we'll be able to print like Warhammer quality models. And then within a year we were there and beyond it.
Yeah.
And now we're like, wow, we can print more detailed models like thingy. And the problem I've got is the problem I see as a painter is so many creators out there are going for more detail. And that's great. The models look fantastic. But just like we've said about my personal favourite sculpts still, which are the Death Guard sculpts, they are a pain in the arse to paint. Because there's so much to them. And the more we do that in miniatures, I think another example of it is the Ravaged Star stuff that the mini wargaming guys launched.
Yeah.
Again, fantastic models, but Christ, have you tried to paint one?
I've got the box still wrapped in cellophane.
Oh, really?
It's just sitting there in the corner brooding. And if you listen hard enough, you can hear it breathing.
Yeah, and I definitely fell into the everyone's going to have this, and I've got to do it.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched
it since. It's great. It's great value, don't get me wrong, like a lot of resin printing. It's great value, and I especially love the vehicles in that because they remind me of like Jason the Wheeled Warriors, if anyone remembers that.
Yeah.
It might be it's probably before your time. I was on the cusp of it. Yeah. But what I love about Trench Crusade is they've got that right, and it's something we talked to, I want to say Andy, but I'm wrong, the guy from Steamforged who came in, who was saying he makes people do like a stud pass or something where it's like
take the rivets off.
The rivet pass, so take all that off. And what Trench Crusade have got right is they've got just the right amount of detail to be good, clear, you know what it is sculpts, but it leaves you enough surface area to do your own thing and paint.
Well, especially because a lot of people are doing things with doing the ones who are like humans who've gone to the dark side, for want of a better term. They've done a lot of them where they're like wearing just like standard sort of almost like knight chest plates, but with nothing on them. And you go, and then you start to see some of the very talented painters that have got to work on them already. You're starting to see the rust and different colours of greens going on it. I seen a guy the other day painted the ones, he said, I've done all of these underlit from the bottom up as red and then from the top down as blue. And he went, the light sourcing makes no sense, but it just looks really cool. It looks
good, yeah.
And he's getting away with it because the detail is strong, but it's not overpowering to the point that trying to paint it like that is just going to become utterly a nightmare, So I think the balance on detail on them versus paintability and giving you space for painting, having a creative painting palette on the miniature. I think they've nailed it myself.
And not only that, when it comes to printing as well, because you're right, you get too much detail and you end up with there's just so much where you can't do anything as a painter. And as much as you think, wow, that'll look great, you pretty much, if you want to get an army of these out, it's slap chop or that is your full-time job. Is just painting these models. But the other good thing is because of the simplicity as well, because of and I'm saying simplicity like I hope everyone understands. I don't mean that at all in a negative way.
No, exactly.
That's it's positive. Is when it comes to printing. I haven't tried them yet. I wouldn't mind looking at the STLs because I haven't got my hands on with them. But I would imagine with the less detail, there's less cleanup to do and less. So hopefully, what they've done is like Games Workshop. Games Workshop don't try and make bolters with like relief holes. You've got to drill your barrel holes because they can't through that manufacturing process.
Yeah.
But another thing that I've found that resin printing model makers haven't fully yet discovered is there are things they shouldn't do because of their model making process. So you end up with a lot of these prints out there that look like incredible renders in 3D when you look at them online, but then when you print them, you're like, oh God, it's going to take me forever just to sand these support marks down.
Like we were talking a little bit earlier with the Emperor's Children, because GW released the grey renders of the shoulder pads.
Yes.
And I'm so used to seeing grey renders for 3D printed stuff that's just so insanely detailed and so wild. So like seeing a 3D render of just one part of a Space Marine, I'm figuring out why I think now, was at the time you're like, oh, well, that's not very, like, it's not like, yeah, it's just a shoulder pad. I thought they would have gone further and this, that, and the other. But it was like, if you sent a picture of like the side profile or front of like a Space Marine leg, you'd be like, what is that? Yeah. Like, it's got no detail, but we know that, you know, the Space Marine in itself, and I love the legs because you get all the fades and all that sort of stuff. Like, so just showing off that one individual part, you're like, what?
Especially when you've seen so many others, like you've looked at like the Grey Tide. We've had like the Grey Tide Studio stuff on before, haven't we? When you did the Black Templars, and I've used a lot of Grey Tide stuff as well. Like I did some Dark Angels bits, and I love Grey Tide Studios.
Yeah.
But when you compare the two, in a lot of ways, I feel like less is more.
Yes.
And I think Trench Crusade is gonna. I don't know who the sculptors are behind it. I'd imagine they're not like GW and they make it public. I'd really like to understand who the sculptors are behind these. But there's clearly an intrinsic thing that seasoned Warhammer sculptors understand.
Yes.
Because, you know, you talked earlier after I came in, and if anyone, see if you can spot, guys, the transition in this video where I came in.
I think you'll be able to. Definitely looking off into the distance.
Yeah, exactly. Suddenly.
With a loving glow.
Oh, bless. I have missed you. Happy New Year, lads.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well.
But yeah, like, you know, you talked earlier about it takes 2 years to do a GW sculpt. And I was sat there thinking, well, in this day and age, like, how can they compete against these sculptors knocking like an army out a month? Like, obviously it's a team, but it's an army a month. But then you think, like, the amount of consideration that goes into the silhouette and stuff like that. So you can see that this is a gaming piece. And again, a lot of the 3D sculpts we see online are much more like they feel like almost models from the 90s and early 2000s in it exists, rather than this is an iconic piece. Everything's an iconic piece apart from Wrong Trousers Guy.
I think, yes, absolutely.
Sorry, to mention in this episode.
And you know, the was it the sequel to The Wrong Trousers, Vengeance Most Foul, Wallace and Gromit, exceptional.
Yeah,
you watched it?
No.
Get it watched. It's on iPlayer. Yeah, and then I think it'll be on Netflix soon as well.
Oh, sorry, there's a new Wallace and
Yeah.
I thought it was a sequel to the model.
No.
If
sorry,
only.
But yeah, from like a creator standpoint, I think that like there's two sort of things. Like I guess I've done, like when I used to work in a climbing wall, I got into doing some route setting, and you're like, I've got the keys to the kingdom. Like, I've got all these holds, I've got a drill, I'm going to make people like turn backwards and do all this weird stuff. And it's like, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's sort of like, people go, you'll watch people do it, and they'll be like, well, I'm not going to turn backwards, I'll just reach that hold there instead. Like, whoever, and then you realize, right, okay, and I think I did the same thing with my videography. Like when I first started filming weddings, I had a belt of lenses on, that was so big. I remember knocking over a vase and it smashing everywhere, and that wasn't great. Whereas now, and I used to change lens all the time and stand in one spot and go like, oh, I'm gonna do a wide one and then a zoomed in one and then a medium one and then whereas now I rock up and I place a restriction on myself, so I just have one lens that's one focal length, and if I want to change the shot, I need to move around and search for it. And putting that restriction on yourself makes me a lot more creative.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think and I think Games Workshop have restrictions with the manufacturing process. Like, I'm sure they would have put bigger wings on, but that would have taken up a whole additional frame of plastic.
And then it's the size of the box on a shelf. However much. Yeah.
So and like they've done what they can with everything, and they're still making great stuff. So I think it's fine.
Cool. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing it though, Trench Crusade. I really am looking forward to seeing them in the hand and what they look like. Yeah. So cool. I don't think I've been quite as interested in as another game that's not made by GW quite as much as Trench Crusade in quite a while.
It seems to have scratched that.
And it just sort of caught a really interesting style that's really switched a lot of people on. I think being written by the guy who wrote Mordheim, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, it's definitely shown a good pedigree for it because it's such a loved game. Yeah, looking forward to seeing it.
Got a lot of buzz. Time will tell. I think this isn't the first one of these we've seen. Like, but
they released the rules before. Like, so
they did. Yeah, people have been playing tournaments of it with no miniatures. Yeah.
What is this for a while? Like, this is the thing. Like, I haven't looked into the gaming.
I haven't either.
But like, you compare it to like the guys who've been, and we were meant to have them on the show, but he fell ill, didn't he? The
one page rule guys. Yeah.
So they've been doing it, and they've been getting a lot of buzz. People are really liking that, and the miniatures are decent. They're a little bit on the simpler side, but I don't think there's just something intrinsically drawing about these miniatures that they've definitely got a feeling of that feels more like a considered miniature rather than a digital sculpt that I don't think many have delivered before. Like the amount of Space Marine proxies I've seen out there that are, and they're great by all means. Like, there's loads of other ones. I think my favourite one's a Puppets War because they're like very close but dissimilar.
It's very stylized.
It's very stylized in their own way.
My favourite one of them, funnily enough, their weakest bit for me is probably their copies of Space Marines, but the company that does a lot of really great Imperial Guard and Chaos faction stuff is for me is Station Forge.
Oh yeah.
And they produce some absolutely amazing stuff.
I think, are they the guys who also do, there's another one, it might not be Station, no, it isn't Station Forge, but there's another one who does, and these are the guys I'm thinking of, I want to say Atlan Studios or something like that. I covered them years ago or a couple of years ago, and they've got Space Marine, very Space Marine, like the same shapes but lots more detail put on. And again, I feel like that's an example of just a little bit over detailed, like nicer scaling and that sort of thing. But it's like the benefits of 3D printing is, again, you're limited, aren't you, with plastic molding? You've got to push it together that and then pull it apart. So to make a dynamic pose model, it's like 8 different pieces. But you don't need to do that with a 3D print because you can have voids and you can have various other things. So to me, the guys who design models, and Mezgeik's one, I've mentioned it to him directly. He does he does Smolky bits and some not Death Guard Dredge Marines that I've shown, and I love, and I think they're fantastic. But I think he'd do better with, even though it might not print as well and might be a little bit detailed, every time he releases a model, do a fully assembled version, because his you still piece together. But I'm wondering, is that a part, and that's good in ways because you can hide mold lines in areas that you won't see, and not mold lines but support marks. But is part of that, you build it in pieces, an intrinsic carryover from the nature of where we've come from? Could we have that as a single piece? Because I would imagine the majority of people out there would much rather go print, twist, fuck it, don't care, paint. So, but that's it. But yeah, Trench Crusade is really, it's got the right people behind it. It's got a great buzz. It's got the right style of miniatures. I'd love to see how they print. Really excited for it. So hopefully this is one that, does.
Well, I think we'll do our best to try and keep on the train with it and bring, keep showing, especially if any of our viewers aren't really well up on Trench Crusade, we'll keep bringing little bits in and talking about it and showing a little bit more of it. keep our hand in.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what's going to happen with War Machine this year. I feel like they're going to have a big
Release at some point,
show at Adepticon. I would imagine.
Yeah, be sensible if they did.
They've been bought out, and that's like the big thing in the calendar, isn't it? So I know there's in the Discord, there's been a few people there
just a good release
talking really positively about it.
A good release post them releasing the War Machine back out there again. I'm just looking forward to as much as anything to the P3 paints following behind it as well. So so
Pub.
Yeah, should we go with the pub? Yeah, I think we should go to the pub. Thank you, everybody. Those who stuck with us last year. Hope you will do this year as well. Patrons, you're lovely people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Remember to buy your stuff from Element Games.
Yes.
Harder and Steam back are the people you need for airbrushes.
Yeah.
Anybody else you can just shill away to?
Yeah. We have affiliate links in the description.
Yeah.
And it all helps out the channel. I've noticed a few emails of I think more people are either buying airbrushes with their Christmas money or having airbrushes bought for them.
Excellent. Good on them.
And that it really does just help keep everything going. So.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye.